Would you believe me if I told you that Silencer can right-click a lifestealer to death in lane? Well, turns out that Silencer can do much more than that, so today I'm here to showcase how Zai is owning pubs with the offlane Mute Boy. That said, if you have any sanity on you, there is probably a high degree of skepticism in your mind about how good this actually is. Offlaners are usually all beefy, thick boys. What makes a hero like Silencer think he belongs here as well? But Silencer is a progressive hero, and he does not want you creating hero roles that dictate what he can and cannot do. So let's see if he's right. I'm going to show you different scenarios that could happen in your games, so you understand what this hero is capable of. Basically, the bread and butter of the hero is his Glaives, that do not draw aggro. What you want to do, usually, is blast the enemy carry with Glaives to force him to draw aggro. Usually when that happens, the enemy creeps will migrate towards your range creep, but even if they don't, the enemy carry is not going to be able to deny the range creep. If he goes for it, he's going to take a lot of damage since you're nearby and zoning him constantly. Bad carries will just take a lot of damage and cry, which is good for you, and better carries will draw aggro towards their tower over and over again so you cannot hit them that much, but that will push the lane towards your tower, since towers do a lot of damage, which at the end of the day is what you want as an offlaner. Sometimes if you block the wave too much or the carry isn't as squishy as a Slark, they might try to trade rather than draw aggro. Zai usually doesn't draw aggro as soon as the creeps meet if the enemy carry didn't do that. A lot of the times he just blasts the enemy carry a little beforehand. You don't really have to draw aggro instantly because you're always going to be positioned very aggressively here, so you want to punish the fact that Spectre will be forced to draw aggro. So by staying in this position like Zai was, you can hit him once or twice, and after the aggro is drawn, you can do the same thing and then fight for the range creep because Spectre is not going to be able to walk towards yours. The best case scenario is her hitting dagger and successfully getting the creep. And basically, you want to draw aggro to your range creep if he doesn't, because trades are always better for you with the melee creeps alive. And you don't want to wait until the range creeps are left, or else the enemy carry might be able to go for it without being punished enough. And also note how less hitting his range creep isn't really that much of a priority. He obviously gets it when he can, but you want to use moments like this where Spectre thinks she can deny to harass her a ton. Most of the time he's not really trying to deny his range creep because that's not something that Silencer does well, at least if he's competing with another hero for it. After you zone the enemy, then it's gonna be a lot easier because you just have to time it right. In this other lane against a PL, we can see the same thing. Range creep dying, but his focus is totally on bullying the enemy carry as much as possible, especially because the support didn't get there yet. He takes that to extremes very often, leaving range creeps or even the entire wave to assist in fights. Silencer is a hero that needs to get kills and snowball in lane because he's not a great jungle farmer and not a great ganker. You want to convince the enemy that he needs to jungle and leave the lane empty for you to scale, and for that to happen, you should be focused on constant pressure. This means buying mango so you have mana for Glaives and being totally committed to preventing the enemy carry farm. This might seem easy in the early levels, but if you don't commit and burn your regen, once they get into level 5 and 6 and get a couple of items, you will start running into problems, especially if you're against a hero like Phantom Lancer. So watch how Zai positions to make sure PL isn't getting anything. This is a concept I talk a lot in my channel, and I think Silencer is a pretty good representation of it. Whether you're strong or not in Dota is always going to be a comparison to everyone else in your team and in the enemy team. So just chill a little bit, don't focus too much on how many items you have, and rather focus on the ways you can make the enemy carry's life a complete nightmare. I know what you're thinking. This might be good, but what the hell are these items? Double Wraith Bands? Blade Mail? Well, the Wraith Bands are quite simple actually. They give you attack speed, and while Drums is probably another item that might pop in your head about the attack speed, it just got recently nerfed, and you only get the benefits after finishing it, and the item costs 1400 gold, which is a pretty decent amount. On the other hand, you can leave the base with 2 circlets, and that is a lot of attack speed, mana, and HP for the lane, that you quickly transform into Wraith Bands in like 3 or 4 minutes. As we already talked about, the first 5 minutes of the lane are crucial for you to dominate it, and so your goal, or at least the way Zai plays, is to double down on early game power spikes. Another important aspect of Wraith Band is the armor it gives. 3 armor might seem very little, but Silencer has no escapes, and a lot of times your only option is going to be standing your ground and right click people. Wraith Band accomplishes all of these small things really well, and that's why Zai gets it every game. He did get Blade Mail against a Leshrac draft once, but that's not the only item he builds. Atos against a Storm was his first big item in another game, yet his preferred item of choice is Aghanim Scepter. Why Aghs, you might be thinking? Well, it's just an amazing item. Imagine you get Night Stalker Aghs, but you make it better. Not only the AoE is immense, and it allows you to completely hinder your enemies with silence on a low cooldown and AoE, but what's really broken about it is the fact that you can find people that are hiding in fog. You want to check Roshan or see if pushing a tower is safe, you can just use the spell whenever you want. If that was not enough, you can also detect people that are smoked. Watch the difference in sound when I cast it on nothing versus this area with a smoked pudge. Another really cool thing that Aghs gives you is the chance to silence heroes for 10 to 11 seconds, and if you're lucky, 15 to 16 seconds. When you global, you can time your last word in a way they're silenced for a super long time, and you're usually gonna get another last word after it. While Zai misses the combo slightly here, there is obviously insane potential against mobile heroes or heroes that need to press buttons to survive, like Slark, Weaver, and Terrorblade. Wave clear is also something this hero struggles a little bit with, so there's definitely a lot of games this patch where Aghs is going to be your ideal item. Finally, there's one thing I realized at the end of making this video that I think is important, even though it might hurt my argument for offlane silencer to become a thing. In 3 out of 4 games I successfully destroyed games with this hero, he had a thick support with him. Tiny in 2 games and Aghs in the other one. Supports, especially in low MMR games, they don't really know how to tank HP for their coursing lane, so they can either farm or kill people, and you might suffer with that in your games if you try to play like Zai when your lane partner doesn't really know what the hell he's doing. That's not to say it's impossible to play offlane silencer with 2 range heroes. Rubik in this game offered a ton because he was able to consistently secure the range creep with Fade Bolt, allowing the experienced game to always be on their side. That said, having someone to be that mid shield is also one reason this hero works really well. Guys, thank you so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. In case you're struggling to get MMR or maybe you just started playing Dota, my Meta Aficionado tier on Patreon offers a great way for you to understand everything you need to know that is not gameplay related, allowing you to focus only on that. Players oftentimes don't realize how important it is to know what the good meta heroes are, and even more importantly, when to pick them. By subscribing for this tier, you not only get 25 PDF files that get updated almost weekly with tips about when to pick them and how to itemize, but you also get a weekly video talking about trends I'm picking up based on professional games and high MMR pubs. In case you want a more premium experience than my Meta Aficionado tier, you can DM me on Twitter to get the rates for my coaching, and if you got back to Dota because of the compendium or COVID-19, make sure to join our Discord server where you can find like-minded people to pub with you. Finally, if you want to watch me cast or play, follow me on Twitch, and that's it. Bye!